On Collins Street sits one of the most striking buildings in the city, the ANZ Gothic Bank. Today, I'm stepping inside to check out its amazing interior, and then I'll head over to its skyscraper neighbour, 100 Collins Street, which was designed to reference the Gothic buildings below it. If you're new here, hello. I'm Ken and I make videos about history, infrastructure, architecture and the environment. I hope you enjoyed today's video. ANZ has been making headlines recently, though I'm not here to talk about its CEO or its clashes with the corporate regulator. Instead, I wanted to step back from the modern controversies and explore something far more interesting, at least to me. ANZ's often overlooked historic buildings on Collins Street. Starting with the Gothic Bank, it is a striking example of Gothic revival architecture. It first opened its doors in May 1887 as the headquarters of the English, Scottish and Australian Bank, or the ES&A, which became part of ANZ in 1970. It was designed by the renowned architect William Wardle, the same man behind St Patrick's Cathedral and Government House, and it is a beautiful building inside and out. Wardle's brief was simple: create a headquarters that reflected the wealth and prestige of a booming bank. The Gothic Bank did not stand alone for long. In the years that followed, two remarkable neighbours rose on either side. To the right, in 1891, William Pitt added the Melbourne Stock Exchange building. The Stock Exchange itself was founded in 1861 and was the first in Australia. Its purpose-built home featured grand stone carvings, pointed Gothic arches and even gargoyles. The exchange fell into financial difficulty and was eventually sold to the ES&A. On the left, in 1890, Pitt designed the Safe Deposit Building, Australia's first purpose-built safe deposit facility. Its basement vaults, considered the strongest in the country at the time, are apparently still intact, although sadly they're not open to the public. The architecture of the Safe Deposit Building is a more modest essay in the same style as the Stock Exchange, but it is done in red brick and cement rather than sandstone and marble. The elaborate, decorative, Gothic mouldings contrast really nicely with the dark brickwork in my opinion. I really enjoyed looking at the different architectural details of each level of this building, as it seems no two levels are the same. The Safe Deposit Building was originally symmetrical, but an extension was added in 1924 which was entirely sympathetic to the original design. Walking back into the Gothic Bank feels like being transported back to the Gold Rush era, when the city earned the nickname Marvellous Melbourne due to its riches, and civic and infrastructure construction boomed. There are tall, hand-painted ceilings, carved timber arches, and stained glass windows that really catch your eye. Look closer and you'll notice a remarkable level of detail. The copper capitals are sculpted with native Australian plants, including ferns, figs and wheat. And when this opened in 1887, it was one of the largest and most ornate banking chambers in the world. I'm not sure if this space, known as the Wardle Banking Chamber, was always open to the public, but after an extensive restoration by ANZ in 2024, it was transformed into a free public museum where visitors can explore both the history of the building and the story of the bank. You can wander through at your own pace like I did, or ask at the front desk for some guidance. The conservation work was meticulous, apparently 7 months in the making. Specialist painters restored the elaborate ceilings, and tiles were carefully reproduced by the same British ceramicist who made the originals back in the 19th century. That said, not every choice preserved the building's history. A new blue carpet now hides much of the 1887 tiling, and a magnificent 40-metre-long blackwood banking counter from the 1920s was dismantled and reimagined as display joinery, a concierge desk, and sales pods. The interactive exhibits are very engaging, but part of me wonders if some of the building's charm was lost in the process. Above this space are the Verdon Chambers, a 2-storey residence for the general manager of the ES&A Bank. Sadly, this area is not publicly accessible, but I encourage you to check out the photos and written history on the ANZ website. I've linked it below in the bio. There you can see some amazing photos of the highly decorative paintwork on the ceilings, which was all restored in 2015. And while I didn't visit this time, tucked away at the back of the old stock exchange is the Cathedral Room, a beautiful limestone and granite hall that once hosted traders and brokers. Today, it's home to the French restaurant Reine and La Rue, fitted out with a reversible design that promises to leave no permanent mark on this extraordinary space. If you keep walking through the back of the banking museum, past the Cathedral Room, and look up from the courtyard, you'll come face to face with a very different kind of landmark. ANZ's former world headquarters at 100 Queen Street, today known as Queen and Collins. This is the final stop on my visit. I wanted to talk about this building because, honestly, it fascinates me. It seems to be one of those buildings that really divides people. Some people love the postmodern style, me included, but others see this building as flashy and out of place. Completed in 1993, this 34-storey tower was designed to deliberately reference its Gothic neighbours, the Banking Museum and the Stock Exchange. Of course, it doesn't match their craftsmanship, but it does attempt to reinterpret Gothic design in a modern way. I think it does this pretty well, and it is completely unique in doing so, at least in the Melbourne skyline. While technically it is another curtain-walled skyscraper, the zigzag tracery and pointed arches give it a distinct Gothic character, adding lots of visual intrigue to the building. Unlike most of the modern glass towers in the city, this is a building I can really spend time looking at. I find there are details I get rewarded with the longer I stand there looking at it. The slight setback also helps soften its presence, so it feels less imposing on the street. But perhaps my favourite features of this building are the brown colour palette and the gable-like roof, both of which reinforce the building's Gothic flavour. The project was led by Peddlethorpe Architects, and planning permission was interestingly granted only on the basis that the ANZ restored the heritage buildings in front. If you're in the city, the Banking Museum and its surrounding buildings are a really great detour. The museum is free and open during business hours. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider giving it a like or subscribing to my channel to learn more about our iconic Melbourne. And if you've been to the ANZ Gothic Museum, comment below and let me know what you saw or discovered. See you next time.